Oh, what's up guys? Welcome to another episode of DDM IRL. In this video, we're gonna check out the BMW E36 that I'm learning to drift in and, kind of talking about what the car is before we start getting into, okay, what should we upgrade? How does it drive? How do we improve our driving? How do we improve the car to complement the driving? All of those questions are gonna be answered throughout the series. But I thought it'd be good to at least give us a starting platform to see what we are working with here. And to be honest, this car is not crazy. There's one kind of different thing about it than most. But in general, the car is not super insane for what it is. And it's definitely gonna be something I think a lot of people are gonna be really able to relate to. And that is kind of the whole goal of this. So without further ado, let's go check out the BMW. All right, we have our guard dog Meadow right here. She is helping us protect our lovely BMW E36. Now, this is a 1992 325i, I believe is what it is according to the VIN, but there are a little bit different things done to the car, and we'll kind of go into a little bit of all of that as we hit each section of the car. So first thing I'm going to kind of hit, in the back of the car, we have a 293 medium case diff out of a 328. It has 328 OEM axles, and that is very important, as you will see later on. They should be, if you're working with a BMW, they need to be OEM axles. We're also gonna have solid mount bushings. So our medium case rear diff is mated up to a factory ZF transmission. That transmission does have a Rally Road trans mount just to kind of add some extra structure to that as well. Let me just open up the boot. There's a little bit of work done back here. Obviously, we have the nice wing. This is a new addition for this year that we put on before the season started. I really enjoy it. And it is black, totally not because we ran out of wrap, and totally because it was a design choice. Inside, it's this was done by JumpSport. So as you can see, it's pretty gutted back here. Nothing too crazy. A couple extra wires I probably should clean up. Got your battery back here. So Meadow, what is your favorite thing on the car? Is your favorite thing on the car? Is it just the ball? Okay, I think her favorite thing is the ball. Well, while we kick the ball over for Meadow, I'm gonna continue on with the description. So one of the new things, did have to put a new trunk on so that it actually latched. As you can tell, this car has been a little beat up in places. This car, and actually do a little backstory on this chassis before we move on too much farther. So this car has been a drift car for I think 10 plus years as a BMW. It made a pretty big engine swap though. Probably I think it was 4 years ago by JumpSport. Obviously you see JumpSport on the car. This originally was one of their shop cars. They did a lot of R&D in this, and we'll get into why in a second here. But long story short, this car has been a drift car for 10 plus years, which is why it may be recognizable to some people, especially in the Midwest area. Definitely not the cleanest. Obviously you got, your rub marks and stuff. You got door marks as well on the doors from like driving. And this is from before when I had the car. So this is not me doing door marks. I don't want to claim these. These are not mine. I'm not that good of a driver yet. So that is all from the previous owner, and is not something I'm gonna take credit for. All right, before we get into the really cool part about this car, a couple of other visual things. We got a couple lips here. It's all M3 style, front bumper, lights, you got some fogs on there. Little lips for the side skirts, nothing crazy. And then we got wheels on the back actually. Let's start with wheels on the back. It's ESR, I don't remember what these are called because they don't exist anymore. And I found that out. So J&C makes a pretty good wheel that looks pretty much like them, obviously based on the original BBSs. I think they look really good. Don't know if we're gonna stay with it for next year, but for now, I think it fits with the car. They're 17s. I think the fronts are 8.5s. The rears, I believe, are 9 or 9.5s. I can't remember. So for coilovers, we have BCs, BRs all the way around the car. And so now that you've kind of seen the outside of this car and a little bit of what we can see visually on the outside here, let's take a little tour on the inside. So, opening up the door, as you can see, we have some of the OEM panels. We can open up the rear, actually, still got some door cards in here as well. The rear seat's probably gonna come out of this. Obviously don't have the back of the rear seat, but I don't see myself having people back here anytime soon. You know, with the solid mount bushings and how stiff the car is, it's just not a good road car as it is. So this is definitely purely a track car. So for right now, we're probably just gonna keep it 2 seats up front. Now, checking out our seats, we got a Prisma NRG Ultra seat out here for the driver's seat. And then over here, we got your Alibaba Special of a spare passenger seat. Now, looking at the actual interior though, we do have a lot of BMW OEM stuff in here. Obviously you got your protector for your dash up here with the cover. You got your grip rail steering wheel. I actually really like this. This is a suede one. I really like the suede over, like, say, the leather, just for grip reasons and all that kind of stuff. One thing I will say, and whoever designed these door cards and designed the clips that these door cards actually use to get put on the door should probably, I don't know, they should get thrown in a pit and be left there, because boy, these are some of the hardest things I've ever seen to like put on, like, well. Because I feel like every time I put on one of these door cards, I break half of the clips. I mean, they are keeping an industry alive, because you can buy the clips for these doors because they break so often. But with that being said, just a little rant there. Other little things. Now, you guys can tell me this is with other 90s cars, but boy, the plastic in here is some of the cheapest plastic I've ever seen. I think it would make the Chinese impressed with how cheap some of this plastic is that the old BMW stuff is like has in the car. This stuff's so brittle and easy to break, so I'm always usually careful when it comes to any of this stuff, or even a lot of this stuff in here. Obviously got a little bit of an updated radio. I really don't use it, so I've got some switch panels. And then actually, why don't we go ahead and show you my favorite thing, is this Link dash. And let me turn it on for you, and you'll see what we got set up here. There you go, you got the logo popping up. And yeah, beautiful dash now set up by JemSport. So definitely a little highlight of the interior as well. But yeah, as you can see, nothing crazy in here. Like, obviously it's pretty much like a factory-ish car with some interior in the rear ripped out. And yeah, that's that. All right, so now we've seen the interior, we've seen the rear end, we've talked about the wheels and a little bit of the suspension. We'll talk a little bit about actually the front angle kit, if you want to call it that. It's just extended lowers, and then I think it's called an angle adapter kit or something. It was something from like 10 years ago, like a really old kit. Definitely is not the best kit. Do not recommend whatever it's on this car. But those are for reasons that we'll get into as we start driving the car and talk more about it and some of the limitations of the kit. But for now, it fits the wheels perfectly in there, so it does look good. But yeah, there's definitely some downsides to that as well, and we'll talk about that. So now to get to the one really cool and unique thing about this car, because everything else is pretty much factory OEM or OEM plus with like little changes here and there. So obviously, basically this is a 328 with one big change in the engine bay. And that is, as we lift this up, that is an EcoBoost. Also has a little bit of other goodies as well, but the main thing is we have an EcoBoost here. 2 liter out of a, I think it was a 2013 Ford Escape. I believe it's all factory, with minus plus a couple like little better things for oiling purposes. I think it's got like a JemSport like block out plate for some oiling, and then some little bit better baffling plate with radium, and a couple other little things like that that are going to be like just helpful to keep it running. But everything else here is factory. I mean it looks factory. It looks kind of ugly, to be honest, but everything else here is factory. except for obviously you got your wiring harness, and made it up to a new Link Voodoo Neo 4 ECU in the DI driver box. Obviously this is a DI engine, so it's gonna need a DI driver box. To bring it back to what this car originally was, this car was Gem Sport's shop car. It was their test car. It was the first car that they've actually ever put an EcoBoost in. And they've used this car for so much R&D for so many different things. And so there's a lot of really cool Gem Sport products on here. You got your engine mounts that mount this engine perfectly in here. You got, then you have your trans adapter mount, which is in there. You can see mates it right up to the factory ZF's 5-speed. Keeps it in its factory location, so you don't have to make any changes. It's literally just, you know, bolt up and go. And that's really cool about this car. So obviously Gem Sport is really the big person behind this swap. And honestly, if you guys are interested at all in EcoBoost stuff, there really isn't a better person to talk to about this stuff, since they offer so many products that help swap these engines into so many different cars like S chassis and stuff like that. And they have support, whether it's OEM ECU or even a Link ECU like this, which by the way, that's a freaking game changer. Can't wait to tell you guys about that in future videos. So another thing that's slightly different than, let's say, if you had the naturally aspirated inline sixes here, obviously it's a turbo car. You're gonna have a little bit more piping. So you got your intercooler piping up to an intercooler in the front here. It's, yeah, you can see it right there. Intercooler. Obviously you got your radiator right here, nice Mishimoto radiator, pretty standard stuff. But obviously the big thing is the fact that you can use everything back of this engine is all factory BMW stuff, and that's the kind of the cool part. One thing, and I will say one thing that is a bit of a disappointment with EcoBoost stuff is the noise. 2.3s sound better, like the one on Chelsea Denofa's car definitely sounds better than this because of the head. The 2.3 heads sound better, but this is just basically just a straight pipe out back of the 2-liter, so it's not my favorite sounding engine. So we just stuck this guy on, and that's an HKS blow-off valve, the one that makes nice little tweeting noises. Just put that on just because to add some different engine noises in there. So I'm excited to see how that really, you know, hopefully spices up the engine noise a little bit more. Is that right, Meadow? Is that what you think? Crazy doggy. She loves her soccer ball. With that being said though, this platform, like I said, is completely stock in terms of your turbo and everything like that. It is running on E85, but out of the box, keeping in mind that this turbo is probably a little small for what I would want. Only makes 240 wheel horse, but 330 foot-pounds of torque. That's to the wheels. And in my opinion, that's probably more important than the horsepower, is the torque and being able to break those tires, making it easier to drive. I would equate this power band actually to like a 5.3 LS. Like it doesn't have like crazy horsepower, but the torque is there and it's always there. And it hits so early because the turbo is so small. It is one of the upgrades we're probably going to look at to do this winter, and making a little bit more horsepower just to kind of combat with over 300 foot-pounds of torque. But for now, this car is actually super easy to drive on the power band that it has. You know, we're just running some 300 treadwear tires, nothing crazy. I think we were like mid-20s with these Acceleras, and had no problem breaking free whenever I needed, even if I let the car die a little bit. And that's always been the challenge. Like for example, if this was an SR, I would have to drive the car a lot harder than I do, because the SR doesn't make a torque like an EcoBoost does. So that's really the cool thing about this engine platform, is it's really perfect for, especially this power level, perfect for grassroots drifting, where I'm not going through a ton of tires and all that kind of stuff. All right, and one more thing, and this is probably the biggest thing about EcoBoost swaps, is I can go to any auto parts store and get a part for this engine, like literally pretty much anything. For example, we had to take this intake off to run a line underneath it. So we looked at the gaskets and it looked like one of them probably should be replaced. So I just went over to AutoZone locally and just grabbed some gaskets for it and put it back on. And some of these, like especially like an older BMW, for example, like I've had issues getting OEM axles because they aren't made anymore, and all you can get are parts store axles, which are way weaker, and don't ever buy them, just so you know. But with that being said, with this EcoBoost, because it's a modern engine, there are parts everywhere, it's cheap. Like, this engine is always gonna have stuff that I need on the shelves if I wanna fix it. You know, the difference between this and LS is you can pick one of these up for like 400 bucks, and also you get some turbo noises, which is, you know, I prefer turbo noises personally. This engine has been drifted for 4 years, and the first thing is starting to fail is the turbo. It's starting to go out on the car. That is really like the first thing that has started to fail after 4 years of hard drifting on this engine, which is incredible. And the engine itself is perfectly fine. So now that you kind of seen what the drift car is, as you can see, it's not a crazy drift car in the sense of has all of this work done to it. I would say it has pretty much the bare minimum chassis wise that you would really want. So nothing crazy angle wise, just a little bit better of a power level, a little bit lighter front end because you don't have the iron block inline 6 in here as well. So actually it does save a lot of weight and makes it a lot more nimble up front, which is actually really nice. So not a crazy first drift car in my opinion to really start pushing what I can do as limits. Like, I have to bring my driving level up to this car before we start really making improvements to it. So if you liked this intro to our Drift E36 here, be sure to give it a like and subscribe. I always appreciate you guys checking out the channel. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace. Did you like the video? What do you think? Did I do a good job? I think people will like it if you like the video. One cares about one thing only. Ball is life.